Okay. Welcome to the Mindset Bloomcast with Mallory. I am your host, Mallory McGary. I am the CEO and founder of Beautifully Blooming. You can find me at beautifullyblooming.com or email me at Mallory@beautifullyblooming.com. You are listening to the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, the #1 radio, TV, podcast talk network. So today, everybody, I'm so glad to have my wonderful friend Holly Hartman here with me today. She's a wonderful, quick, random meet and greet that we've met through different programs that we've been in, but we've connected really well. And she just has an amazing mission. So I'd like to introduce her. I'm so glad to have her here. Holly, welcome. Tell everybody about what you do and your business and all the things.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thanks for letting me be here. I really appreciate it. And I love our connection we've had so far. So I know we'll have a fun time today.
Yes.
So my name is Holly Hartman. I live in Southern Indiana outside of Louisville, Kentucky. And I'm a certified dating and relationship coach. And I am trauma informed. So I used to help a lot of people in trauma and recovery. But now I'm helping people have healthy relationships, either with themselves or with others. And so one of the groups that I started online is called Solo Date Challenge. And that's where we empower women to learn to love themselves through intentional and unapologetic solo dating, no matter their relationship status. So this is for mothers. This is for single women. It doesn't matter. We all need to learn how to love ourselves. So we talk about self-love, self-care, solo dating, and self-healing. It all starts with us and how we show up in the world. So I really empower people to do that.
Awesome. I love that. That is actually one of the things that brought us together, is that both of our missions is helping women and moms, just moms of any, my niche is moms over any place. Yours is women, no matter what you look like, but to find that in ourselves, to be able to say, I'm all these cool things, but can also be just me. And that's great. And to step into our own individuality. So tell me a little bit about how you found your solo date challenge. Your Facebook group is called the Solo Date Challenge. So I'm lucky enough to be a part of it, that we talk about everything of what are you doing this week to date yourself, little things, tips and tricks in there. So what brought you to that?
Well, I was actually healing from an abusive marriage at the time. So I am a single mom now of 2 boys that are 7 and 17. And so it was my own healing journey. And I liken it to when I uncovered and discovered I was in a toxic relationship. I also realized it wasn't just my romantic relationship. I was actually surrounded by lots of toxic relationships. It was showing up at work. It was showing up in some family dynamics, lots of different things. So I say it's like I lived in a forest and it was pitch black, and someone shines a light down and I'm surrounded by angry wolves. But the reality was, in that moment, I realized I was in the center of that. So there's good news in that. The good news is I am the common denominator. I get an opportunity to change and heal.
Right.
And that was really my wake up moment to go, okay, what's happening? How am I showing up where I'm allowing this to happen to me? Because I am participating. If it's a pattern that's happening, I am participating. And I had to own that for myself. And not to say anybody needs to be abused or asking for abuse. I'm not saying that at all, but I was a part of this toxic dynamic. And so what did I need to do to change? And honestly, my higher power said, Holly, you need to date yourself. And I was like, what? And I heard first 100 solo dates. And I was like, man, that's a really large commitment there, God, to date myself 100 dates.
I can't go that many dates.
Yeah, before I'm supposed to be with another man. That was what my first download was. But as I started to do it, I realized, no, this is a lifestyle. And that's really changed to Solo Date Challenge, is I'm challenging myself to validate myself. I'm challenging myself to love myself as I am on those good days and those bad days, on those light days and those shadow days, that I am okay to be authentically me and how he created me, or how my higher power created me. And that's how I showed up. And so when I started to do that, everything started to shift for me. My energy shifted. I learned to love myself. I became authentic in who I was. I was a chronic people pleaser before that. Chameleon. I mean, that's just who I was. That's how I showed up, because that was survival. And so now I get to step in my power, and I have more energy for people. I love people more fiercely. I love myself more fiercely. And I'm not as much fear of abandonment and rejection like I was, because I know that I'm whole as me now.
I love that. I have talked a couple episodes ago about me feeling like I was a chameleon, trying to fit in a bunch of different places, of trying to fit into this group and trying to fit into that group, and never really feeling like I fit. But I didn't feel like I fit within myself either. I was trying to shove the Play-Doh dough into the cookie cutter rather than rolling out the Play-Doh and letting the cookie cutter do its thing. And how important it is now, especially now that I'm a mom, that I needed to keep that. I needed to stay in that same vein of, I'm still need to show up as just me. I cannot continue to get lost in all of the titles I play. So, and now it's kind of, I mean, my kids are little, they're 3 and under, but they see mom in this going, okay, I'm going to do X activity. You're staying here either with the babysitter or a family member or somebody else, and mom is leaving. But it's okay, mom's coming back, but mom's coming back better. So with your kids being at 7 and 17, do they participate with you? Do they encourage you? What does that look like for them?
Yeah. And I hear this a lot. A lot of single moms want to push back to me like, oh, I don't have time. I have this, I have that. We have excuses. But the reality is when we heal, our children heal. We are modeling behavior. So a lot of times we think, oh my gosh, I'm stealing time from them. When you show up as your best self, they now push me out the door. Go love yourself, mom, because you're so much better when you do, you know? But even I'll just take it to my 17-year-old. I'm seeing it show up for him. He went to prom by himself because he asked a date. She wasn't available. And instead of going, oh no, I don't have whatever it is, he dressed up. He went by himself. He showed up and he was like, Mom, I'm going to do my own solo date. So I'm empowering him. And even my ex-husband is doing his own solo dates. And so this isn't really just for women. It is also for men. We all, when we show up in that energy, everyone else around us will love it. Now, at first, they don't understand because it's like, that's a foreign concept. So you really have to advocate for yourself and go, no, trust me, I will be better. You know, because when we show up in our full energy, that overflow, I mean, you hear that pouring into the cup, you probably hear it over and over again at nauseum. But it's not about just pouring in your cup and your cup being empty. That when you want to give to your children or to your spouse or to your family or boss or whomever, you're pouring from the overflow. You're not just like putting a drip of water in there and go, oh, I did one bath this week and I should be full of abundant energy and everything should be fine. Most mothers are coming at a deficit. So what you feel like is probably enough, probably times 4, and then maybe you'll actually be in the overflow.
Right.
And that's the big difference.
I love that so much. And like, we kind of think along the same vein as that. A couple episodes ago, I talked about filling up your cup, how important it is to fill up your own cup, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. You have to have something that fills up your cup. Granted, I love my kids. My audience knows I love my kids, but they don't fill up my cup. They partly fill up my cup. I love my husband. He doesn't fill up my cup. He partly fills up my cup, but he doesn't fill up my cup. But the things that I do, of activities that I do, or like different passions of mine, fill up my cup. And as being a part of the Solo Date Challenge, I've taken more steps probably to date myself more in probably the last couple weeks, rather than like back in college where it was like I dated myself by doing homework at a restaurant because I was across the street from school. But that was like me dating myself back then. And now it's different. It's finding new activities, finding things that really speak to me, and just being like, or it's just calling my friends and saying, we're going out for dessert. Like, I don't care. We're just going out for dessert, whatever it looks like. So what are some things when you started this solo dating? Because 100 dates sounds like a lot, but I could be right now. I mean, in the beginning phases, it's still hard. So when you're looking at going, okay, I'm making this commitment for 100 solo dates, where do you start?
Yeah. A lot of people don't know where to start. And my challenge is, One thing that's different, you kind of mentioned two things that I wanted to share.
Okay.
What you're doing now is intentionally dating yourself. What you did back then, you might have considered dating yourself, but it really was
Right.
intentional. The energy is much different there. And so I really want to encourage people to understand that, because they'll be, oh, I've been to eating by myself for a long time. I'm like, yeah, but did that fill your cup? Did you go to your favorite
Right.
restaurant? Did you order that juicy steak that just makes your heart sing, and have that chocolate cake without guilt or shame or anything, and just indulged in it because did you step into that feeling in that moment and let yourself just be guilt-free, authentically, that's what you want? If you didn't, then you touched on solo dating, but you really didn't do it in its full embodiment, because when you're in the full embodiment of it, when you get that energy, it's addictive, and you're like, oh, I want more of that. So then it becomes easier. Now, a lot of my listeners had never been, or people that follow me had never been on a meal by themselves before. And I remember this one pivotal moment in my group where one lady was like, I'm going to go to breakfast by myself. And me, I've been fiercely independent my whole life, so that didn't connect with me, but it connected with a lot of women in the group that they had never done that before. So she shares her breakfast picture in the group, and everybody's like, yay, good job, good job. And then about an hour later, another lady goes, oh, you encouraged me, I'm going to go do it. So she went and did it. There was 3 other ladies that same day that it was like, because I'm global, so it was like this ripple effect of going. So yes, it's solo dating. Yes, it's intentional, but within the group, you're supported in this shift and go, oh, this is not strange. This is exactly what I need, what my family needs, what everybody needs, is this opportunity to unapologetically love yourself and who you are and what you want. But for me, for my solo dates, I have a free ebook that I'm going to share with you guys at the end. It's called The 5 Love Languages of Solo Dating. So
love that.
Most people have heard of the 5 love languages. If you have not, I highly encourage you to figure out what your love language is first. I have links in there about that, but another author created that. I'm just doing a spin-off concept from it.
Awesome.
So the 5 love languages. So once you know what your love language is, self-love, solo dating is about self-love. Love yourself in the way that your language is. So if physical touch is your love language, maybe go get a massage or take a bubble bath or go get your favorite fragrant lotion, and just take so much time to just intentionally rub your body and love on yourself and give that to you. Let's say it's gifts. Well, maybe taking a trip is something that's going to be important to you. Or maybe it's going to get that little piece of chocolate that's at the store that you're like, oh, I just want to go have that, and I'm going to gift it to myself. Or your favorite pair of shoes that you've been dying to have. Maybe that's what you need to do for yourself. It could be quality time. And like you mentioned, going out with your friends. Some people, well, that's not solo dating. Well, does it fill your cup? Are you doing it intentionally? Yeah. Now, if that's the only outlet you have and you don't do the other things, my encouragement is to try to do something solo, but it absolutely is a part of that too. So what is your love language? That's a great way to start. And then the other thing is, what do you value most in your life? I teach core values too. So if you know what your core values are, mine are connection, service, freedom, creativity, and growth. And so I do solo dates with that. I just did a Muddy Princess this weekend, which is a mud race. I go hiking because nature and connection is how I fill my cup. I take courses online with coaches because that fills my cup. So what might look like a solo date, it may not look like a solo date to somebody else, is absolutely true to my spirit and who I am. So if you go to Target one day and you're like, oh my gosh, all these moms are out here at Target and they get a Starbucks, and you go and do that and you're like, this does not fill my cup. What is wrong with me? That's not your values. That's not your love language. That is okay. There is nothing wrong with that.
Right.
The other encouragement is try things you've never tried, because it will unlock more about you that you don't know about yourself. If you challenge yourself to try new things, take an art class, go join on a podcast, go to a theater show or a concert by yourself, expand past what you normally enjoy doing and see if that unlocks something for you as well.
I love that. I am not the mom that goes to Target and gets a Starbucks. That doesn't fit my vibe. So, but like, I really love the theater. So I will go buy tickets to go to a play or a concert or something like that. And that's what fills my cup. I have gone to them solo and it's fine. And I don't feel weird. I'm just like, I'm a patron of the arts. And so things like that, I think it's important. The love languages was an awesome touch of oh, I didn't really think that me getting a massage was me really, if I went into it with that intention, was me really taking care of myself, or that I was really speaking to something that needed to fill my cup, or maybe it was taking a little road trip, even driving in my car sometimes without any kids in my back seat, my radio not on, and just driving around in silence. If I do it with the right intention, I'm dating myself. And that's the best way to look at it, is that you don't really have to go so far out of your way and being like, okay, I've got a scheduled time to go do blah, blah, blah. 100 dates, if you look at it in, oh, I went to the store without my kids in the intention, then 100 dates is really easy.
Absolutely. Or getting out a coloring book and doing an adult coloring book. Okay, kiddos, you need to go in your other room for 30 minutes. Mommy's going to take 30 minutes to herself and she's going to color in the book. Or you just say, we're going to color together, but you're going to take that space for yourself. You put your earbuds on and listen to meditation music. They're there playing, they're having a good time, but you're focused in that. That's a solo date. So it doesn't have to be huge and broad and expansive. Right. It can be very simple, but again, it's all about the intention.
I love that. And even including my kids in that, I can still do 30 minutes with myself doing an activity that my kids can participate in, but we're in the same space doing the same thing. We don't have to be interacting with each other in that, which is something I think a lot of moms don't really take for granted, of like, if I want to do something myself, I have to like do all these things outside to get my kids taken care of. Include them. And maybe at some points too, it can be, you're going into a solo date saying, we're going to make cookies together, but I'm going in with the intention of, these are my friends and we're going to do something together and build each other up, because I'm filling up their cups, they're filling up my cups, and the activity is filling up my cup. So something to keep in mind, especially is if you're a single mom or your husband is in a military and maybe deployed, or that you're kind of like the ships passing in the night. You have two different schedules, that it's okay to have alone time, but together time with your kids. And make it so that it's something that is not necessarily out of your realm and possibility in that. And I love that you say, try something new. And there's plenty of coupons. If you're a Groupon user, I know there's like coupons every other place. Check them out. Go to a paint night and use, like, I know that they have Groupons all the time and coupons on their website that learn how to paint. I've done that a couple of times. They also do like plant boxes, learn how to make succulent boxes. I have killed 7 succulents out of said box. But I have done that in that space. But I love that those ideas are just something you would do on the normal. It's nothing outlandish and huge that you have to do. So I love that. Talk a little bit more about your book. I knew that you were an author and I knew that you had this amazing little thing, but I want to delve into it a little bit. Like, where did you find the comparisons between the love languages and then like a physical touch, getting a massage, those type of things? Where did you find that to fit into your solo dates?
Yeah. So this is just my free ebook that I offer to people because it's important to me to do that. I'm also a published author that I wrote a book on recovery after narcissistic abuse, because I'm also a coach that helps people through that, because that's part of my journey, and actually wrote a lot about this in that book. So the chapter is in there. Well, it was something that spoke to my heart for over a year. I'm like, okay, I just need to write this, because a lot of times we try to overcomplicate things. And I think that's where people get caught up just in making any change in life. We're like, it's so simple, it can't be that good, right? It's so simple of a concept. No, let's see if we can make it more complicated. And so that's why I wrote the ebook, to just be helpful to go, okay, if you don't know where to start, try here, because there's so many different ways that you can connect with solo dating in whatever speaks to you. But a lot of people get paralyzed and go, oh, so here, it's just a guide to get you started, is really all it is. And there's over, I think, 100 different date ideas. So if you truly have a block after that, well, then let's talk. I do one-to-one coaching and stuff, because then I can help you like uncover some other things. But once you get in the groove of it, it becomes easier. And you're like, oh, even painting rocks with your kids, like, most kids parallel play really well. We have to get out
Right.
of the mindset of like, we have to always be entertaining them. Actually,
Hmm.
more creativity happens when they're bored. So we are honoring their creativity by giving them safe spaces to play while we intentionally take care of ourselves.
I
I mean,
love
my son
that.
has sat outside of the bathroom door coloring. I've shut the door and said, I'm here. You can hear me, but I'm going to bubble bath and I'm going to play some music and you're okay. And now he's a little older, so maybe
Right.
younger kids, you can't do that. But we also need to be able to verbalize our needs.
Hmm.
The more we share that with our children, the more we're giving them an opportunity to voice their needs too. And I'll give you an example of this.
Right. I love that.
I was doing a coaching call and like a live thing, and my son came in and he gave me a Post-it note. And he handed me the Post-it note and gave me a Sharpie. He said, Mommy, I need you to write a love note for my lunchbox tomorrow. And I want you to write, I love you and you are amazing. Love, Mom.
Oh,
He came in and he showed me what he needed. He brought it to me. He was very clear on what his needs were. I was very open to sharing that, but it's only because I'm using the words of saying, I need this. I need
hmm.
this space. Mommy's doing this for this reason. I am verbalizing why I'm doing it. Why not teach them along the way and
Right.
encouraging them that it is okay to speak your truth, speak what you need, love on yourself, do it unapologetically. So he had no apology to come in and ask for what he needed, to say, I need words of affirmation from you, Mom, and this is what I need from you. And it was so clear. And I was like, yes. So they see us,
Oh,
they model that behavior, and now he feels empowered to do that.
I love that. That is so sweet. I'm trying to teach my little guy to do the same thing. I think as um kind of the new generation of parenting is trying, gentle parenting is a term I've heard thrown around. I've also heard like co-creation parenting, kind of the way that I talk about it, because you're still parenting, you're still giving that guidance and direction, but you're co-creating what that looks like. And I really want my kids to stand out as emotional, um, knowing that all emotions, it's okay to feel all of the emotions. It's okay to express all of the emotions, that you're going to feel them. You don't have to put a lid on certain boxes or anything like that. You can be exactly who you are, because when I have found in my journey that the more open and all of the lids of the boxes are taken off, I'm a much better giver to the world of all of my energy. And as a creator and a business owner, that when I want my son to do the same thing in that, and he's getting to a point where he can just say to me that like, Mom, I just need to go to my room for a minute. And like, that's his safe space of, I just need to sit in my room, or I need you to just snuggle me, or I just need you to hold me because I miss you. Like, he's getting to that point into being able to do that. And I know that through my example, he's being able to do that. And if he sees me cry, he knows that Mom needs a hug, and I'm not afraid to cry in front of him and say, Mom's struggling. Mom's having a really hard go right now. And I'm not hiding it from my kids at all, in the fact that we're just going to make it through right now. But mom's just got some tears. And so he'll ask me and be like, Mom, are you sad? And then he'll say, how can you be happy? And he's trying to bridge that gap.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's helpful in me in saying, okay, my journey in healing is helping him see that life is not, what he's seeing is not, that it's not perfect, that I'm growing too, and we're growing together. And I think that's part of what your kids see as you're dating yourself, whether it's with them or without them, that it's like, Mom's still here, she's going to be here, and she loves you, but she needs to do this because she can give back to you 100-fold when she comes back, because your cup is so much fuller in that. And with your kid, like a kid in high school, is that different than your 7-year-old? Because those are two different, like a big gap too. So do they treat each other differently as well as you in their age range?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate that both my boys are super loving. I mean, they're, the little one, if he doesn't, he's like, Mommy, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. What I meant to say was this. So we just use the clear words. We just talk about things. We don't sugarcoat it. Or like you said, if I have a bad day, I'm like, Mommy's really anxious right now. What I need is actually you not to ask me any questions for the next like 15 minutes because I'm trying to pack the car. Can you find something to entertain yourself? So because I don't want to get frustrated because I have ADHD and then blurt out something I don't want to do, but I need you to do this now. But because I did, there would be times where I would be triggered and be like, oh my gosh, you need because we're human, right? Nobody's perfect. And he so lovingly said, Mom, all you had to do was ask. I'll gladly do what you need me to do. And I'm like, ooh, because when he was younger, the only way he heard me was to yell and not because, it's just that's where he was with his ADHD. And now that it's managed, I forget that he can't, he hears it different and he understands different. And so I can meet with him in that way. I'm not proponent of yelling, but truly a single mom, we were just surviving.
Right.
And that's part of my own healing journey where we get to stop and pause when we're agitated and have these conversations in real time. And I can be honest with where I'm at, but my anger or my frustration doesn't have to come out on him. I can just verbalize it. Right now, Mommy's angry, or right now, Mommy is stressed. I need time. And this is what it looks like. This is what I need. And I'm going to advocate for myself. But they know to honor that now. And my teenager, he honors his own self-care. Like he goes back and forth between both homes and he says, Mom, I need a break. I need to do this. So they have that space to advocate for themselves and love themselves and what they need and use the words and honor it. Just like you said, like we're going to honor whatever that feeling that's coming up and saying it is okay for you to feel whatever feelings you have. Let's honor them. But it really is hard to do that if we don't know what our feelings are. Most women are coming out with wine or shopping or TV or whatever it is. If we're not in touch with our own feelings, it's really hard to expect our children to be able to model that in a healthy way. So the more you do intentional self-care, intentional self-love and solidity, excuse me, the more you are actually authentically sharing your feelings in real time and in touch with that, they feel it. Kids will do what we show, not what we say oftentimes. And so you are modeling that behavior, whether you know it or not, one way or the other. And so this way we actually get to be intentional in what they see and do and feel so they can model that for their families moving forward. And that's what I feel like is my impact in the world today is if I can help women heal, ultimately their children will heal and this next generation will be more emotionally intelligent people. They're going to be able to love people well and also love themselves in that moment.
I love that so much. We're going to take a quick break, but we're going to come back. You are listening to the Mindset Bloomcast with Mallory. I am your host, Mallory McGary. I'm the founder and CEO of Beautifully Blooming. You can find me at beautifullyblooming.com or email me at mallory@beautifullyblooming.com. We are here with my wonderful friend and guest, Holly Hartman, and we are talking about all of the great things about dating yourself and going on solo dates. So come back in just a minute. You are listening to the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, radio, TV, and podcast, the #1 internet talk network. And we'll be right back. Okay, we'll pause for a second. Welcome back to the Mindset Bloomcast with Mallory. I am your host, Mallory McGary. I'm the founder and CEO of Beautifully Blooming. You can find me at beautifullyblooming.com or email me at mallory@beautifullyblooming.com. We are here with our special guest, Holly Hartman, and we are talking about dating ourselves, going on solo dates. It appeals to moms and dads in being able to find authentically who we are. So Holly, as we jump into the second half of our episode for today, what are some things that really have spurned from you going through this journey of healing and dating yourself? Because you left one relationship that was not great for you to now I have seen that we're in a new relationship and the bridge between the two, where you started with your first relationship and who you are now in this new relationship. What does that look like?
Oh my goodness, day and night. Like couldn't be anything more different. Loaded. Yeah, no, it's good though, because who I was before was a chameleon. I would be anything that you wanted me to be. But really honestly resentful of it. Like, I will be
Mhm.
your people pleaser. I will give you everything you need, but then they weren't able to give me what I needed. And this happened not just in that relationship. I had multiple of these same things. So
Mhm.
it was a pattern that I had created within myself of allowing myself to be abused in that way, emotionally, mentally, psychologically, financially, religious. I mean, all of it.
Right.
Because I was going to be whoever they wanted me to be. Because if you love that person, I'll just be that. I'll find out who that is.
Mhm.
And honestly, that's very codependent. So I'll go ahead and label that. It's
Yep.
very
Yep.
codependent. And it is just as dangerous and just as toxic as somebody that you might consider a narcissist. The
Mhm.
reason is I am not showing up authentically. I am love bombing you. I am seeing what you need, and I will meet that need until it is too much for me. I burn out, I get
Mhm.
exhausted, I get resentful, and then it's your fault that I did it. That's not
Right.
healthy. Super not healthy at all. So if you're doing that, please reach out for support, because there is support.
Yes.
Believe me, I've been there. I also have 13 years in recovery. I've been sober for 13 years. So
Awesome.
even in programs, I still was doing this behavior. So this is part of my pattern that I came up from growing up. So
Mhm.
Solo Date Challenge is a very, very, very simple concept to reset that, to
Awesome.
learn a different way. And it can, you don't have to overcomplicate it. Just start doing the work. So how is my relationship different now? I am now, we're only 3 months in, so I'm still observing
Still new.
behavior, but it is the healthiest relationship I've ever been in. I actually allow him to do things for me, and I receive him. I would have never done that before because I wouldn't have trusted somebody, or I'm looking at how can I, it was really manipulative. How can I do enough for them to love me? But the reality is I'm not letting them see me of who I truly am. And so it feels very empty. So
Okay.
until you know who you are and what you love and desire, I've been told so many times, you're so hard to buy for, because I would never let them really see me.
Right.
Now I have a partner who is showing up. We've gone caving and camping together. We went to IKEA this weekend and came
Mhm.
back and did a building competition and built something, and we just had a ball together. He asks what my desires are, not just with my passions, but even intimate. We've had more physical, like talking about sexual intimacy and what that looks like and what my desires are, more than I've ever had with a partner, because this person wants to see me, but not even just that. I want him to see me. I'm
Right.
allowing him to see me where I was never safe to feel to do that before. Now, would those people have been different? I don't know. I think my picker was broke there because I was looking for that trauma bond,
Right.
not knowing it at the time. I'm choosing healthy now. This person's been in therapy for 20 years himself. He does his own healing work. And so part of it is the partners we pick. And then part of it is how do we show up and how vulnerable are we willing to be? And it's really daggone hard to be vulnerable when you don't know who you are.
Right.
When you don't feel comfortable in who you are and what your truth is and how you show up authentically and what brings you joy, it's really hard to communicate that to anybody else. If you don't know what your needs are, how in the heck is that other person be able to meet those needs for you? And they can't meet all of them, but how are they going to meet any of them so you can truly connect if you don't know what yours are in the first place?
Right. I love that. One of my very first episodes was talking about authenticity and how we've gotten to a point of everybody, like, we want you to be authentic, but we've turned it into unauthentically authentic, in that we're still not going to share our crappy moments. We're still not going to share like the sad stuff. I know that if you look on my Facebook and my Instagram, I have a picture of me just sobbing, like just sitting sobbing. I also have a reel of me just crying in a space. And that's not something a lot of people are willing to put on the internet and say, like, look at me, I'm tearing, like, I'm falling apart.
Yeah.
In reality, though, that's what everybody needs to see. Your family, your partner, your whatever that looks, whoever is in your circle, they need to see that it's not, your life is not a constant highlight reel, that you have breakdowns. You're gonna get in a fight with your partner, significant other. You're gonna have a disagreement with somebody. You're going to have these moments of learning and growing. And what that takes is, there are going to be good days as a mom. You're going to be like, you and your kids are totally going to like get dressed, have all the meals, like go on all these great activities. Everything's going to be awesome. You're going to have those days, but you're also going to have the days of these are my days 95% of the time, is that My kids are both maybe in a t-shirt and their diaper, just their diaper. It's summer, it's 95 degrees. Whatever. Like I'm usually in a band t-shirt and my hair pulled up and have on like basketball shorts because that's my jam. And it doesn't mean that it's bad or that it's not great and it's not worth the highlight. But in this unauthentically authentic world, that still looks too vulnerable. That still looks too much not on like the path, right? The same path. And so I think when you get into solo dating as well, and tell me if this is what you experienced in your journey of, there's a lot of judgment coming from it, right? There's a lot coming from like, there's a lot of mom shaming, there's a lot of mom guilt that comes already, but now you're taking it one step further saying, now I have to date myself. You're feeling like that's an added pressure rather than saying, it's not added pressure and I don't feel guilty because I'm really taking care of myself. My kids are going to be better because I'm doing that. There's zero mom guilt. I have shed that mom guilt and saying, my kids are happy, they're taken care of, they know they're getting a better mom because I'm doing this and it's fine. And I need it for me. So I've shed that mom guilt, but it's taken a lot of work. So when you're doing it as a single mom, did it feel like there was more pressure?
Yeah, I mean, it just, well, people change when they're inspired or they change when the pain's great enough. And I had been in too many relationships that were failing, and my children were a part of that. Unfortunately, I've been married twice. And so the pain's great enough to have them not have to experience that anymore.
Right.
And if there's a pattern in that, I got to change it. Right. Or if you're that mom that is so burnt out that like you are so depressed, you can't even get out of bed or brush your teeth or brush your hair. I've been there. That the pain is great enough to make a change. You're worth it. Your children are worth it. And I've heard a lot of women that were suicidal because of postpartum depression or what have you. You deserve it. You are worthy of this. And so is the pain great enough to make the shift? I hope you haven't had to feel that deep despair of pain. Right. But if you're there, this can help shift it. Now, is it this save all? No, because we know that there's medical things and I'm not going to claim that. However, it is something we can do intentionally. So if you are struggling to get out of bed, maybe your solo date is just getting a shower today. Maybe your solo date is just walking outside and saying, I'm going to give myself 5 minutes of sunshine today because I haven't been out of my house in over a month. Maybe that's what you need. And if that's what you need to get started, we're going to celebrate you. And one thing I do want to share is when we start new habits, getting a dopamine hit will help you want to keep that pattern going. And what I mean by a dopamine hit, you can look up ways to gain dopamine. I'm not trying to like drug deal you here, but like reward yourself. Celebrate yourself. It could be a piece of chocolate. It could be just saying, "Atta girl, Holly, I am proud of you." And look in the mirror and just say, "I am proud of you." Or a cold shower actually gives you a dopamine hit. There's lots of different natural ways we can do that, but reward the behavior, especially if it feels awkward at first. Reward yourself in any capacity that you can. It can be small. It could be a marble in a jar and say, when I've done 100 solo dates or 10 this week or whatever that looks like, put a marble in there and celebrate yourself. Go get the whatever it is that you want. The more we can change our habits for the positive and inspire ourselves or join the support group because we inspire each other to do it. Sometimes we need that first. But that's been the big shift for me, is to make those changes. But know that the pain was great enough for me to do it. I didn't no longer wanted to live that way. But the critic, oftentimes we think the critic is outside there. The critic is in here. We can create all these stories in our minds of, oh, they're going to judge me for this. Oh, my kids are going to think this. Oftentimes we're projecting our own fears. We are blocking our own selves because it's our own fears that are keeping us away. It's really not the outside world that matters. And if you truly have people in your life that are keeping you small, they don't have to be in your life. You get that choice. You can make those shifts. If they're on social media, there's great mute buttons, there are great block buttons, and they don't earn the right to steal your energy to love yourself. You come first, and that's okay to do that. So I give you permission to block, mute, remove anybody that makes you feel small or makes you play small, because you are worth it. all in your own, who you are right now. You're enough. And if anybody makes you play small, feel free to remove them or mute them or take a time out or whatever you need to do, because you're worth it.
I love that. I also echo that in giving permission. I think it took me a long time to give myself permission to let go of some people that were not great in my life, or to set up better boundaries. Said, you can be here, but when it gets to this point, I'm out. I've had to take a timeout from some people because and we are constantly on timeout we get so much and then it's like, too much, got to back in. So I give you the permission to say yes to yourself and say yes to what's authentic to you in growing and learning and becoming the woman and stepping into your truest form of yourself, because there is so much out there that's telling you to stay small. There's a lot that is telling you that you can't, you're failing, you're never going to be good enough. You're never, and it comes from a constant scroll feed, right? Remove the people. I challenge you to remove the people that don't inspire you. I have cleaned out my Instagram a couple of times in that fact of, you are not inspiring and you make me feel like a terrible person. So bye. and I have filled up my feeds with people that inspire me, people that really resonate with me and make me want to be better, make me want to jump into something new, just help me just step into that true self in that. So with those,
that's a solo date.
There it
saying,
is.
I am going to intentionally clean up my social media or quit watching the news or whatever. Sometimes it's taking things away, maybe not adding. It might be just saying, I'm going to fill it up with positive people that are inspiring, and I'm going to remove the ones that aren't, or block it or move it or whatever you need to do. But that is a solo date. Cleaning out your email box that's weighing you down, cleaning out your car, cleaning the clutter. And I'll share this one quick thing. You were talking about vulnerability of showing who you are in this current relationship I'm in. So I have ADHD, and it presents itself mostly in, I can't keep a clean home. And it's held a lot of shame for me for years. And I'm sure there's moms on here, because I talk to so many women that are diagnosed in their 40s. I was just recently diagnosed, and it released so much shame for me to go, oh, okay. So early in dating, he said, what's one weakness that you don't really want to share with me? I was like, I don't want to share this, but I'm going to share it because I want to be authentic. I want you to know what I struggle in. And so I shared with him. I was like, look, I am not Susie Homemaker. I do not keep a clean home. I do the best that I can, and I get exhausted because I love my family and I have poor connections more important to me. I mean, we don't live in filth, but like we're cluttery. And so he came into my home, and I tried to clean before he came, but I still had piles, like doom piles, as they call it. And he looked at me and said, he goes, you're doing I don't want to cry. You're doing so much on your own. I don't expect that from you. He goes, you need a partner to do that. And he said, and I will come and either connect with you if that's what you need and body double, or I will help you. You just tell me what you need, and I'm there. And I've never had I've had boyfriends, I've had husbands, I've never had a partner. And that's the shift. But until you allow yourself to be seen, and you truly ask for what you need, and you really share those parts of that can't be that for you. And so that vulnerable moment actually elevated our relationship, that opportunity for me to show that shadow side of me, that shame that I've held for a very long time, that highlight reel that I show everybody else. And so, I share it now because I know it inspires people. But up until the past year, I wasn't sharing a lot of those things. But what I'm realizing is people need to know that I'm human, and that I am not perfect, and that I am normal too, and that I have weaknesses just like you and me. And so we need to see that from everybody. We need to be able to take that armor down with safe people that have built that trust, and then do that. But it's really hard to do that if we don't know who we are yet.
Awesome.
And that's really all starts back to us.
Everything starts with us, in that whatever we want to see change. I've seen this saying on t-shirts and like little crafts and everything, be the change you want to see in the world. And I think that shift is somewhere like in the middle at the moment. Like we've talked about it, and now like the world is kind of like, oh, maybe we should grasp onto this a little bit. Like there's some truth there. So like, let's hold on to that. So we're kind of in that space of, oh, we want to change things, and things got to change. So we're going to start somewhere. You are changing the world with helping people just heal whether it's generational trauma, whether it's dating trauma, whether it's just they don't know exactly what it is they're healing from, but they're healing. And I'm searching to leave my mark on the world with helping moms know that it's okay to be you. It's okay for me to be mom and Mallory at the same time, and to just be Mallory and to just be mom on occasion, that whatever roles that we play, because we all know that we have loads of them that we play, that they don't define who we are. We get to define what they are to us. And that everybody that comes in our life, we don't have to accept, we don't have to receive, which is hard to say. And it's easier said than done, because we all want to fit somewhere. We all want friends. We all need that. But if we're not true to who we are, and both of us being chameleons in different ways and probably at different points in our lives, but both of us stepping into our authenticity and showing up how we are, that it's okay for everybody else to do that too. We have a support group. There's support groups everywhere, and every mom is looking for a community that supports her in being exactly who she is. Whether it's today, we just want to, like, we haven't washed our hair for 3 weeks and we're just like surviving the day, and moms that are in the middle of, like, I've thrown on a t-shirt and jeans, but I don't feel like super real ready, but I'm here. And then the mom that has maybe the corporate job, or you just like to dress to the nines all the time. There's a space for everyone. And both of our communities put our arms open around them so much, which I love being a part of the Solo Date community, because that's exactly what it is. I felt like when I joined it, I was just coming into a group of friends that I didn't know that I needed at the moment, but they're the perfect people for me in that. And I am so glad that you have that message to share to the world, because a lot of people want to hide behind their weaknesses. Is my weakness keeping a clean house? Nope. I struggled into the point. My weakness is now trying not to over clean my house. So mine is, I'm trying to settle into, it's okay to live in the daily, not we have to be here all the time. So like there are times where I'm like, oh my gosh, I did not vacuum my floor today. And it's like, I have to sit back and be like, did anybody die today? No. Like, did you guys survive the day? Yep. Was the floor vacuumed gonna make a huge difference one way or the other? Nope. Like, it's fine. Let it go. So like in that there's my authenticity and vulnerability, in that my weakness is to not over clean and to not like be paranoid about it all the time in that. So I love that. I love having you here as a guest. And before we end, what are some last things that you would like to say to our listeners?
Just show up as your unapologetic, authentic self. And the world needs you. The world needs who you are, not the mask of who you think the world needs. You were incredibly made just for you. And so that is my biggest encouragement. And then for anybody that's listening, join the Solo Date Challenge. We love all women of all ages. I even have some mom-daughter combinations in there. It's good, clean fun. We just support each other. And you're welcome to download my free ebook if you want to learn about the love languages and how you can love yourself through solo dating. Or if you have questions, feel free to reach out. And awesome. I love to connect. That's my passion, and help people get connected to their next best step. So if it's not working with us, how can we get you to where you need to go? And that's really a big part of who I am and what I love. So I just feel honored to be a part of this, and I've loved the dialogue that we've had, and excited to watch your journey.
Me too. I love the dialogue. I'm excited to watch our journey too. Like, you have your own journey. We have a journey together we're on at the moment, and where it connects. And I think, and Holly is right in the best part about stepping into a community like this. If it's not coaching with me, it can be coaching with Holly or somebody that in our network that we happen to know, that we want you to and encourage you to be the best that you are, because you are perfectly and wonderfully made to be exactly who you are. So we thank you for listening. You are listening to the Mindset Bloomcast with Mallory. I'm your host, Mallory McGary. You can find me at beautifullyblooming.com or email me at mallory@beautifullyblooming.com. Everything that our wonderful guest Holly has offered will be in the links. You can get the free ebook, jump into the Solo Date Challenge community. You can jump into the Beautifully Blooming and Motherhood community, and we can all just start to support each other. You are listening to the WGSN-DB Going Solo Radio, TV, podcast, and holy cow, I do this all the time. Radio, TV, podcast, the #1 internet talk network. And we will see you later.